I'm Ryan Stone and Bryson, two teams that played hard through the first two games. North Carolina A&T battled hard until late in the games both times, but UNCG has been able to prevail in the first two games.
Yeah, the Spartans looking for the sweep today. It was one of those scenarios where, as you said, North Carolina...
Before their next game on Wednesday, it was a 5-run disastrous bottom of the 7th inning that A&T gave up in the game on Friday that put UNCG in front for good 9-4 in that ball game. But two teams looking to one looking for the sweep, one looking to avoid being swept here.
Season as a relief pitcher, had a 3-1 record and an ERA of 4.59 last season. That ERA has gone up significantly this season, but as you said, still very early, also looking for his first win of the season. We'll see if he can get it today against the Aggies.
Aycock's first pitch a little low there that time to Jones. He'll send one rolling through the hole into right field. So A.J. Jones out to Taylor.
And this is a North Carolina A&T team as well. They're trying to kind of replicate that success they had at the very beginning of the season, having those 2 wins against Delaware State. And J.T. Taylor was a big part of that, was named the CAA Rookie of the Week that week. Batted .407 with 5 RBIs, 3 triples, and a double in those 2 games against Delaware State.
Yeah, he was a second. J.T. Taylor at short today, and Enrique Wood at third. So those two guys, a little bit of movement around the infield here for the Aggies in this one, and then in the outfield going left to right, Savoy Edwards, Nick DiCarlo, and Bruce Weish. And for UNCG, first batter up, it'll be Jeremy Wolf hitting the Spartans. It's his average up to .339 on the season.
No, yeah, preseason first-team All-Southern Conference player, 19 hits so far this season. Also a pretty good base runner, currently 4-4 in terms of stolen bases and has an on-base percentage of .415. He also batted well in that first North Carolina A&T game, batted .204, and then there's some times where they caught him in a pickle, were able to get some outs that way, and so these have been some pretty aggressive base runners, at least in terms of Friday's game. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see if that continues today or if they go ahead and play a bit more conservatively.
That was certainly a big part of the game, no question about that. That was a couple of they didn't go in the error column per se, but that was another.
So far looking strong, and if they do allow a run, and again, it's just going to be because of those mistakes, similar to what we saw in the first game of the series.
That'll bring the freshman Parker White to the plate, hitting .266, 2 home runs, 9 RBI. Centel's first pitch outside and a little low for ball.
And so they've done a good job recruiting both in the state of Virginia, but also recruiting here in Greensboro and throughout the state.
Centel with the punch out there, back-to-back strikeouts to get out of trouble in the bottom of the first inning. Centel strikes out 2, and we have a scoreless. This is outside and low, and the count now 2-2. I mean, you look at A&T's inside, and the count now 2-1. And you don't typically, we talked about this on Friday as well, you don't typically see teams come as far to play a midweek game as New Mexico State is, but that's because they're playing Liberty this coming weekend.
Yeah, so it's kind of a sandwich where they play UNCG first, and then those 3 games against Liberty and what's a Conference USA matchup, and then playing UNCG.
Oh, he's a guy that he can fly, that's for sure. That'll bring Luis Gomez to the plate. Gomez hasn't gotten a ton of opportunities yet. This will only be his 22nd at-bat of the season.
Yeah, has also kind of struggled in the batter's box in the few opportunities he has been given, a batting average of.
Comes with it. Gomez lifts one back out towards shallow right center field. On the run, Perez able to make the over-the-shoulder grab and rob Gomez of what looked like it was going to be a hit and an RBI initially for the Aggies. Still scoreless through 1.5 innings here in Greensboro. Spartan on Juju Watkins in USC in the first round. Congratulations on making it. You get to play the best player in the country.
Well, it's really interesting because that women's team for UNCG, I mean, it was a historic season. Yeah. I mean, first of all, undefeated at home, got that regular season title uncontested, then ultimately won the Southern Conference Championship in overtime.
And one away. Third strikeout from Centel. And I wouldn't necessarily call High Point a trendy upset pick at this point, but I've seen quite a few people take them. They're going to take them over Purdue.
I would say kind of one of my upset teams right now would be Drake. I mean, just considering how good they do during that regular season, getting to 30 wins. I mean, pretty looking pitch right there, because at first looked like it was going to be well outside, but it dove back into the strike zone right at the last second. That was a pretty looking ball right there and a solid strikeout.
Yeah, we've seen him get a couple guys swinging at pitches down in the dirt so far too, and you can see why. He's got a lot of movement on that breaking ball.
Oh yeah.
Nobody on now, 2 outs, and that Runner on second, 2 outs. Kermode takes the breaking ball in the inside corner there for strike 1. Kermode hitting .214 on the season. This is just his 5th start of the year, 3 RBI. 0-1 count from Centel to Kermode.
Left on base for both teams, but it was just UNCG that was able to capitalize off of some of North Carolina A&T's mistakes and got the bats going late. And it's good to see them getting the bats going here early if you're a UNCG fan.
That'll bring Jose Perez to the plate. 9th hitter in the order, hitting .162 on the season. He'll take outside and low.
Batters to stay alive, and now you're in the danger zone because UNCG going back to the top of their batting order.
Wolf hits a slow roller. Centel with a nice little snag there. He'll shovel it over to first, and that will get the Aggies out of the bottom of the 2nd inning, but UNCG does take the lead. 1 run on 2 hits, and it's 1-0 Spartans.
6 RBIs. And A&T, they've really struggled to get that batting game going really for this entire weekend. They had glimpses of promise there in Game 1. Game 2, it was just completely shut down by UNCG. And so you really need some more offensive output right now if you're the Aggies.
And they were expecting big things out of Enrique Wood. Jones coming back to the plate.
Knock on wood, but I mean, it would be the most ironic thing if Aycock goes the distance and the only hit he allowed was the very first at-bat of the afternoon.
Yeah. You don't see that too often, that's for sure. As A.J. Jones will dig in. And Jones hitting .298 on the season, the Gardner-Webb transfer. Mary.
And again, that's just really a gauntlet there in the CAA. I mean, you got some good schools in that conference like Charleston, UNCW, Campbell. And it's really a conference where you have to bring your A game every single weekend when you play.
Breaking ball hit right at the knees there to Trey Truitt for strike 1. Truitt hitting .339 on the season. And you're a right-hander. Your motion when you throw is going to pull you to the first base side. He actually went against that to field that ball. There's not a ton of pitchers that are going to do that. A lot would have left that for the shortstop, and then that probably would have ended up being a hit.
Well, it just shows that he's an athletic pitcher overall, that he's not a guy that's solely focused on his pitching. Over there to second base, usually had to bounce once or twice and was off target.
2-2, and looks like Centel has won this battle, provided J.T. Taylor makes the grab, and it's 2 away. That'll bring Parker White to the plate. Nobody on, 2 outs. Here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Again, just
corners with 2 outs.
It's interesting. Holland's been a little bit of a ball magnet so far this season. Actually had 4 hit by pitches before today's game, and so 5th one of the season. Does a good job of getting on base as well. Also has 6 walks before today and an on-base percentage of .315 before this game started.
We're going to see a mound visit here. This is just
Defensive Player of the Year in basketball.
That's pretty skilled in a number of things there as the count misses, or Centel misses outside there, and the count goes to 2-1.
And again, just this UNCG team has done a really good job of recruiting in and around Charlotte. I mean, you have guys from East Mac, from Huff High School, and so done those games where things looked even at first, but then just some mistakes by the Aggies allowed UNCG to overtake them. This time, though, in the 3rd inning, instead of being towards the later 3rd of the game. And North Carolina A&T has to be careful right now because you still got 2 runners in scoring position. And looking at their bullpen right now, they don't have anyone warming up, and so the Cavalry still. Yeah, ZRA has already come down by 2.5 here, and he kind of struggled there on the mound earlier this season, but he's done a good job of getting some good experience today against North Carolina A&T, and he's really backed up why he has gotten so many Southern Conference accolades here in the past year or so.
1-1 count now to Smith as that one down in the dirt. Here's the 0-1. Taylor fouls that out of play to the right side, and the count goes to 0-2. And runner on first here and no outs in the top of the 4th for the Aggies. Close, but not in time.
And I think it says a lot that the CAA has been so competitive. Baseball, basketball, football, I would say, is the best FCS conference east of the Mississippi. I mean, you have teams that oftentimes make deep runs in those tournaments. I mean, Delaware, who's actually moving after this year, I mean, was a staple of CAA football for coming into today, but he does currently have a .250 batting average.
The guy's kind of emerged over the last week or so into the starting lineup for A&T. We saw him make a couple of really nice plays out in left field on Friday.
Yeah, and both these teams haven't had a super consistent starting lineup, at least if you go series by series.
Yeah.
Out there by the UNCG infield.
And that wind blowing about 12 miles per hour today as Bruce Weiss, who's 0 for 1 on the day, steps in. He'll take strike one on the first pitch.
I think this is really interesting to point out right now. UNCG has left 6 runners on base, only 1 for North Carolina A&T. So this lead could actually be much.
Still a 3-2 count to Wolf. That one roller over to second, fielded cleanly by Jones. He'll flip over to first, and it's 1 away.
Definitely the start right now if you won, if you're North Carolina A&T. Here in the bottom of the 4th inning, you know you're going into.
Coach comes out, decent chance he'll still keep going, but when Coach Hall comes out, pretty much it. And the Aggies are going to go to the bullpen here in the bottom of the 4th inning with 1 out and a runner on first base. We'll step aside here for a timeout. We'll come back and let you know who the new arm is for the Aggies.
Allowed. So pretty mixed results so far from him these last couple of games. You know, wanted a better result there in that first game against the Spartans, but he was able to hold his own against the Wolfpack just a couple of days ago. And so we'll see what he's able to cook up here.
First batter he'll see, it'll be Jacob Dilly.
Get back to the tournament this year and finish where they left off.
Halford's throw over to first. It might have been, that one may have been close if it had been a better throw. Throw was down in the dirt there that time. It was a pretty quick move from Halford. And still a 2-0 count to Dilly. Catch, and Truitt, using the heads-up base running and the speed, is going to come around to score. 4-0 UNCG. That's going to go down as an E6. That's the second error for North Carolina A&T.
That one's really going to hurt there if you're North Carolina A&T, because not only did you have an opportunity to get a...
And that one down in the dirt gets away from Gomez, and another run going to come in and score here for UNCG. And just like that, it's now 5-0 Spartans here in the bottom of the 4th.
And that was kind of both on Halford and on Gomez there. You kind of saw the runner in Dilly hesitate there. But with Budzik entering into the batter's box, I mean, that's the guy that he could easily put this game out of reach early for North Carolina A&T.
I think we're going to see another pitching change here for A&T as Coach Hall has come out, and it's like Halford's day is going to be done without even recording an out. Still in the bottom of the 4th inning here at UNCG Baseball Stadium in Greensboro. Spartans now leading 5-0 in our second pitching change of the bottom of the 4th inning here for North Carolina A&T. Tally Thompson will come in and take over for the Aggies on the mound. This is his
event and sends it into the outfield.
0-2 count here from Thompson. Breaking ball, this one popped up into foul territory over on the first base side. Tyler Smith is going to run out of real estate as that one lands on the hill. It's an 0-2 count. And you know it's a school night by how long that ball is.
This upcoming Wednesday, that one will be at home for them at World War Memorial Stadium. And then they'll start out CAA play against William & Mary, then play at Winthrop on the 25th for a single non-conference game, followed by playing 3 games against UNCW. First pitch of this half inning,
Carlo hitting just 222 on the year.
Yeah, and these are really both teams that have struggled to get the bats going, as we've already mentioned. Both really entered this weekend towards the bottom or at the bottom in batting average in their respective conferences. But UNCG, they've been able to take advantage and at least get their offense going. Not the same for A&T. And so
if they're able to get back into it, that those 2 strikeouts from Thompson with the bases loaded would be a pivotal point. Here's the 1-1. Carlo right over the heart of the plate for strike 2. And Aycock actually, Aycock thought that ball was coming to him. Dilly's now. And that misses outside. So DeCarlo draws the walk. And there's runners on first and second now with a 1 out. And A.J. Jones coming to the plate, who's 1 for 2 on the day.
Strong plate appearance right there if you're DeCarlo. I mean, you were down initially 1-2. You kept fighting, and now all of a sudden you put UNCG. And so I think it's going to be really interesting to see what he can do without anyone on base, kind of the slate completely reset and a chance for him to probably, or at least have a chance to pitch the most amount of innings he's pitched so far this season.
Thompson, first pitch, misses there. Trying to put one down the line the first time just to see if you can maybe leg it out yourself and then maybe come back with a safer bunt towards the field of play with the second attempt if you're confident enough in that ability. Throw over first there from Thompson, not in time. And Wolf.
Pretty solid 20 hits.
Breaking ball to the outside corner that time, and the count evens up at 1-1.
UNCG, as a team so far today, only 2 of 10 in terms of batting with runners on base or runners in scoring position. You'd like that number to go up, and a pickle here.
Yeah, Thompson
had a triple back in the third inning where not super often you see a first baseman getting a triple.
Yeah, it looked like that one might leave the yard for a moment, but landed out on the warning track and ended up legging it to a triple. Dribbles that one foul to the first base side, and the count now 1-2. Getting on base is a skill. Doesn't matter how you do it. There are less painful ways, though.
Yes.
Misses outside and low there for ball 1.
Especially as it's getting a little bit more chilly, and so that may sting a little bit more as this night progresses.
To 1-2 here to Jacob Budzik.
2 of 3 this evening as well. Had a 2-run RBI back in the third, then a double back in the second. Aggies were able to handle him, though, in his last plate appearance in the fourth.
Here's the 1-2. Misses low and in.
Actually closer to landing than what I had initially seen looking at the replay there. But, I mean, just good job and making that last adjustment as well. I mean, that's not an easy catch to make.
Here's the 1-2 from Deere to Amaro. Hits one down the third baseline, just foul. It's the second one to the opposite foul line.
A&T, but you're starting to run out of outs to give right now, and you're already down 7 here in the 6th inning.
You're pretty much down to 7 outs at this point as the count evens up at 2-2.
Yeah, saying that just to basically say that they need to go ahead and turn things around relatively fast here because their infield and their outfield
take low there for ball 1.
I think it's interesting kind of to put things in perspective for UNCG as they came into the season. Picked to actually win the Southern Conference in the preseason poll, got 3 first-place votes there. Sanford only finished 2 points behind, though. They also got 3 first-place votes, and it kind of shows that it's going to be pretty close. I mean, we probably are just shy of a dozen people up here in this press box, and we're still scratching our heads, but still, regardless of how it's scored or what happened, still 7-0 here in Greensboro, North Carolina, and A&T starting to run out of time as that rope is starting to be starting to be burned. I mean, we probably are just shy of a dozen people up here in this press box, and we're still scratching our heads, but still, regardless of how it's scored or what happened, still 7-0 here in Greensboro, North Carolina, and A&T starting to run out of time as that rope is starting to be starting to be burned